Good morning. We're gathered here together again, and it's meetings we sort of value, isn't it?
It is. It is. We love being together with the church.
Okay. And it's the scattered one this week. It's the 20th, and we're here to talk about money, and you'll have a wise panel of 4 people, I'm told.
We'll see.
Okay. Those who are giving, you may have already given, but there is a place on the computer that you can click and make your own arrangements there. And we've got Vision Builders next week, haven't we?
We do. So start thinking about it, church.
All right. And we bring in our pledges, and we also make pledges for the future. It's not just about the past, it's also
About the future, the
About the
people
future.
coming after us. Enjoy, everyone.
enjoy. Have a great morning.
Bye.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Walking around these walls, and I thought by now they'd fall, but you have never failed me yet. Waiting for change to come, knowing the battle's won. I'll never fail me yet. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never failed me yet. I know the night won't last. Your word will come to pass. My heart will sing your praise again. Jesus, you're still enough. Keep me within your love. Oh, my heart will sing your praise again. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never failed me. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never failed me yet. You've never failed me yet.
And I never will forget.
You never failed me yet.
And I never will forget. You are with me in the fire. You are God, Emmanuel. By the power of your grace, my hope remains. You are with me in the fire. You are God, Emmanuel. By the power of your grace, my hope remains. Where there is darkness, you are the light. Where there is fear, your perfect love comes alive. Out in the desert, you bring the rain. When I am weak, you give me strength to stand again. You have crowned me with your goodness. You have clothed me in your grace. In the riches of your love, my hope remains. Where there is darkness, you are the light. Where there is fear, your perfect love comes alive.
atmosphere, your perfect love comes alive. Out in the desert, you bring the rain. When I am weak, you give me strength to stand.
Good morning, C3 Monash. Welcome to another scattered service. It's great to be with you, and we're so glad that you could join us. As you can see, we have something a little bit different for you today. It is a panel discussion, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. We're going to continue the conversation on Jesus and money. But before we do that, please don't forget, or just remember that in particular this month, Vision Builders, Sunday the 27th of June, we come together as a church. We make our financial commitments to the church's building fund, and there is a lunch and a morning tea happening. So we'd love to see you there, and please talk about with your family what you can contribute into the building fund this year. So, as we said, we have a panel. Down on this end, we have Deanna Barilaro, we have Rhonda Hubert, Andrew Kingston, and Brad Hotchkiss, who are joining me for a chat this morning. Now, these guys have all been long-time members of our church family. They're all committed givers, all love the church body, and so we're going to sort of put them on the spot tonight and have a little bit of a conversation with them. We're going to kick off with Andrew. Mr. Kingston, can you tell me, where was a time that you found it difficult to give and why?
Okay, so for starters, I'll just say that I haven't really had a time when I couldn't give, and that's because Brad and I just did a gift survey in our Connect group, and we both realised that we've got an amazing gift of voluntary poverty, which I didn't even know that was a thing, but apparently we have that. So I actually find it very easy to give. However, on that question, there certainly was a time when I did try to hold more or try to control the money more. Well, actually, it happens periodically, and the time I really first noticed it was when Nat and I had the children, and so I guess I suddenly felt responsible, and I had to do my best to look after them and everything. And so, yeah, I found myself striving a lot in my own strength to do that. It took a while for God to hammer it into my head that, this is about lordship. You're trying to take control here, but, I'm supposed to be in control. I'm supposed to be the driver. You're my passenger. And so, yeah, so that's probably the one time. And I must say that, this lordship one, I don't think it's a one-off decision. I think it's a daily decision, and I would say several times I've caught myself trying to control money. So money is a tricky one for me, I guess. So I'm happy to give, but I still like to feel like I'm in control. Does that make sense? Yeah,
very cool, very cool. So what we'll do is that'll lead into the next question quite nicely, actually. Rhonda, can we throw this one at you? Cool. So Jesus said in Matthew 6:24 that no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. We all know that very well, that passage. What is your number one tip for making sure that money serves you instead of you serving it?
Having a budget.
Budget, sounds good.
I find that I can have both control and be giving when I've already determined ahead how I'm going to give and what I'm going to give, and I haven't neglected anything that's going to come back and I'm going to go, forgot about that. Now I've got this bill or this cost that I don't know how I'm going to cover, so I'll just crib a bit from here. I don't ever have to do that when I have a budget. And for me, it's financial management. I think that we are stewards. It's not your money. God's given you the ability to get wealth. And so it depends on how you manage it.
So what you're saying is that the budget isn't an attempt to control the finances necessarily. It's actually something that frees you up to do it well or better.
Absolutely. It's not a control. It's freedom to spend. So if you have allocated this amount for your giving, spend away.
Okay. Deanna, you look like you're about to say something there, so please jump on in.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Rhonda. Budgeting is what I found easier to cover all my bases, and in particular, a time when we had small children and budgeting our small income was difficult. But on that, I just felt to say how important it was to budget our meals, planning our meals for the week, shopping for just those meals. You don't get distracted by the sales.
No shopping when you're hungry.
No shopping when you're hungry. And that really helped us. And I didn't realise how valuable that lesson was until we started budgeting, because we would just willy-nilly go down to the grocery, fill up the trolley, come home and have all this food, be confused about what we were going to cook during the week, and end up throwing out food because it got wasted. So as soon as we started working to a budget, everything just became easier. We knew what we were cooking for the night, we had the ingredients there was no wastage, and there was always money put aside for the tithe.
Yeah, sounds good. Very good. Michelle and I actually had an experience. This is years ago now, probably a decade ago, just before we moved to C3 Monash. But like you guys, we had a budget. We'd always tithe. It's in there. It's part of what goes to God before anything else. But we were in between churches. We were about to have our first baby. The church didn't have any young families. We thought, let's move to a church where all the families are. And they were all here. So we came along here and then we decided to stay. But we'd been out of an actual church, not part of the church community, for probably 9 months or 10 months. But what was really cool is because we already have that money set aside in our budget for tithing, we just continued to do that and prayed about it and said, God, where would you like this money to go? And we were able to bless another family that really needed the help at the time. But again, it was just cool that we had it in our budgets. We didn't feel like we needed to take it back in just because we weren't attached to a particular church. And it was great to be able to give that away and let it not be a stress on us either, because it's all part of the plan, or all part of the budget. Cool. All right. Well, Brad, we're going to come to you on this one. Yep. Is that okay?
Sure.
Beautiful, beautiful. All of us here, long-term Christians, been in the church or around church for a long time. What would you say about tithing, though, to somebody who is new to the faith?
I mean, I guess I'd just talk about how my initial experience in the church was and with giving, and like it set me on fire, really. Like I loved giving. It was something that really fused my heart to God and to the church and to everything that God wanted to do. It was so exciting and so amazing, and so I feel like my advice would just be like, just go about doing that, because there's nothing that really sets you on fire and gets you as excited as actually being able to contribute to what God's doing and connect with the Lord through what you're doing with your money, because really money represents our time and our effort and what we're actually giving ourselves to. So in a way, it's an extension of us and our lives, and so it's a way of really giving God what he deserves. And so yeah, I'd say early on in your faith is a great time to really invest in going after it with giving.
Great. So you wouldn't necessarily go the route of, you're a Christian, you now tithe, that's just how it works. You're actually looking at, this is what it does for you when you give. This is...
Yeah, I guess I found it bore fruit, and so I feel like in the new covenant, it's something that, like, if something actually connects you to God and is a form of worship and is a heart transformation sort of thing, I think that's what God is after. So absolutely, There's the obedience side of things, but I know that when I was early on in my faith, I was maybe didn't have the same level of maturity that I have now, and it was something that, like, actually connecting to God and getting excited and going deeper in God was something that I think was more valuable to me.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. On that same question, but a little bit of an angle, different angle, because I found this one tricky when I first came to C3 Monash. How would you talk about it? How would you explain, and you've probably answered it fairly well already, the difference though between, say, tithing, which we all understand as a 10% of what we earn, and that's, everyone kind of knows that, and a building fund. I'd never heard of church building funds before. So we got here, and my first thing was, it's another one, they want money, different angle, different whatever. But how would you explain that to someone new to the faith? Rhonda. Sorry.
I can only go by my experience, and I was lucky in that when I was first a Christian, I began in a church that didn't have resources, and they had loads of young people coming with all kinds of problems, drug addiction, all kinds of things, and we did not have the resources or the staff to
Yep.
look after them. And so a group of us went to, the church hierarchy of that particular church, and they wouldn't help. They said the minister's salary, that's it. And we went, well, what are we going to do? Because all these people are coming and we need to help them, we need staff, what are we going to do? We got together, those of us who were working gave everything we made into the kitty. We lived in a communal lifestyle, like, different people lived in different houses, and we just had very minimal amount to live on. So I learned what it was to not have anything, and that it was okay, you would not die. You had food, you had shelter, and it was amazing the way the things that you actually did need just kind of came across your path. It was just amazing. And so for me, it was an easier task, even though that might have been a hard thing to do, it was an easier task to learn that God does provide when you really have nothing. And it became, in some ways, harder for me as we got something, after that I had time in Bible college, again, I had nothing. So it wasn't difficult to live with nothing and trust God. But when you start to get money, somehow it kind of sinks into you and you kind of want to keep it. And that to me is more of a challenge when you actually have it, to say, this is a lot of money and I'm going to do what with it? I think that is a bigger challenge. And particularly in an affluent society like Canberra, it's like, none of us are starving. There are resources here. Most people are in pretty good jobs compared to the rest of Australia or the rest of the world.
The Canberra bubble.
Yeah. And so I think the temptation here is harder. Do you know what I mean? That when you've got lots,
So as your
to give it away, it's hard.
As your resources increase, to try and maintain that generosity or maintain the faith of giving is harder.
And when it comes to something like the building fund, then you're saying, oh God, can I really give away? They're talking about thousands of dollars. Can I afford that? Because what happens when you have a lot of money, you tend to spend a lot too.
Yeah, your living circumstances change, your lifestyle changes a little.
Well, you choose.
Yeah,
to let
absolutely.
them change. And so making that choice to not let that income creep happen and say, well, I got a bonus this year, I'm going to get an extra whatever, and say, well, that's going to be God's, I'm not going to touch it. That is a real challenge.
Yeah, definitely.
When you kind of go, but we need a new car. I really had my eye on a new couch. I really, all those kind of things, to say, no, God, I've said that's yours. And I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to honour my word, even though now I might be thinking, why did I say that? To honour it. And I think that when you honour it and it's difficult, God honours you.
Very good. Very good. Love it. Does anyone else want to jump in on that? Anyone else got anything they want to say around?
Oh, I'll just have a quick comment. So I thought that was really cool. So that sort of reminded me of like reading about the church in the first, in the New Testament, in the first early church, where they were giving heaps of their resources into the body to then help everyone in the church, sort of thing. And everyone outside the church was looking in, going, "Wow, we need to get in on this. This is cool." That's fantastic. Yeah, so I would have thought. So I'm still trying to work this out in my own head, but I would have thought that in the New Testament, we're kind of, I don't know, under some sort of higher law. Like we don't just pay our tithes, tick that box, and then the rest, the 90%, then is ours. We can do what we want. We're kind of like, God is God of all of it. We pay our tithes, but then He might say, well, maybe you should give some to the building, and then maybe you should give some to this family, and maybe you should do some here, maybe you should help out over here. And it wouldn't be just money either, I guess, it'd be time and all sorts of things. So yeah, that's my thought on that.
Awesome. Brad, you look, yep.
Yeah, I mean, I also think if you look scripturally, the tithe was a recognition that all of it belongs to God. It's not just like, 10% is God's and the rest is mine. Like all of it belongs to the Lord. And so, if you give the tithe, then I think that unlocks this recognition that all of it is sanctified and consecrated to the Lord. And you're on the lookout for other ways that you can bless above and beyond.
Yeah, very good, very good. So, Rhonda, can I throw the next one to you?
Sure.
What do you do, or how do you have the conversation with, say, other friends who are Christians and or family who are Christians, and the conversation around things like prosperity gospel, that idea of you give this and God will immediately give you this back. I know for me personally, I'm not a big fan of those words or even the thinking, I suppose, but I have a really hard time denying in my life God's role in our finances and how we are blessed. What would you do? How do you have that conversation?
I think it depends on how much scripture they really know. A lot of people call themselves Christians, but their understanding and their knowledge of the scripture isn't that great. The scripture talks about things like the borrower is slave to the lender. So it's not a good idea to borrow. It's not a good idea to be in debt. In the house of the wise is choice food and oil. So, that's not a poor person. And a lot of those, when you get into the scriptures, you find that the Jews were instructed in things, a particular way to live. Like they didn't charge each other interest. So if you mess in the way the world does stuff and you don't understand enough to do it God's way, then you're going to find that you are poorer for it. So to me, it's not that God somehow owes you something. He doesn't. And he owes no one anything. But if you live his way and you learn, and I guess you learn more as you get older, but and as you study the scriptures, you'll find that the specific instructions on how to use your money and what to do and what not to do. And God, the blessing will automatically be there. It's not a matter of me saying, well, I gave $100 and so God's going to give me
God doesn't
1,000
double your
back.
money
He
for you or
doesn't.
anything, no.
It doesn't work like that. But there is a blessing in living the way God's instructed. And you see it in the Jewish nation, and people will often say, those Jews have got all this money. Well, the Jews follow the way that they're instructed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's going to follow them. That blessing will follow them if they live God's way. And it's the same for us. If you learn what the scripture says and follow it, even when it's not the way that the world does it, then the blessing will automatically follow.
Awesome. I like it. Very good. Anyone else want to jump in on that one? We will bring it to a close very soon, but if you've got something you want to throw in, anyone? No? All right.
Well, I will say
Right,
something.
go for it. Andrew, you're up.
I can always say something. I think looking at the New Testament from a bigger perspective, it's about the heart. Most of it's about the heart. And I think the prosperity gospel is more about what can you get out of God? Like I don't know how to describe it. It's a transactional relationship, I suppose, which is not what it's all about at all. It's about God is sovereign. So it's not what he can do for you, it's what you can do for him. And so if you're doing things for him, he might bless you, but he might not. He doesn't have to. No. He's already given us the greatest gift ever. So, so that's my view on it. It's all about the heart.
Yeah, very good, very good. All right, we are going to wrap it up. So last one for a couple here. And Andrew, I'm going to come back to you on this one. Has there been a time when God really came through for you from a financial perspective?
Okay, cool. So I've got a story from a couple of years ago, 2019. So we had pledged quite a bit of money to the building fund, and we paid a little bit of it. I'm not very, I'm a bit of a last minute man, let's say that. So I'll know, I can grab that money at a certain time. So we paid a little bit off, but we were basically going to pay it off in the last couple of months. And then a couple of months to go, I was running down a hill at night, very stupidly, with my torch was dying, so I thought, I better run quicker before the torch dies. And I tripped over and I fell on some rocks and I busted my wrist. And so I thought, that's no good. So I went to I just thought it was a sprain, actually. So then a couple of weeks later, I was like, this isn't sprained, this is broken. So I went to the doctor. They said, yeah, it's broken. And then they sent me to a specialist, and because I'd left it so long, the guy said, it's probably not going to heal, so you're going to have to do this, get this pin in, do this, do that, and whatever. And it was going to be about $7,000, and I thought,
Ouch.
I guess I could do that, but then I wouldn't be able to pay my building fund. And so I sort of started signing it, and I was signing the forms or whatever to do it, and I was thinking, no, I think if I honour my pledge, we'll just see what happens. So I went back to him and said, what else can you do? And he said, okay, well, let's just chuck a cast on it and we'll see what happens in 3 months. So I said, right, let's do that. And so then I thought, okay, that's cool. So now I can push the problem down the road and I can still pay my building fund. And then about a week later, Nat lost her job, which is it was out of nowhere. So suddenly we were in real trouble trying to pay this building fund. And so I remember I just dropped the kids off at school and I was running to work and I was talking to guys like, what's going on, God? Are you trying to teach me a lesson here? I don't know what's going on. I don't think I'm going to be able to pay this. Is this a humility thing? What? But yeah, whatever, I'm listening, so teach me. So then probably Nat got a job real quick. So she got a job within a week or two. And we worked out if we just paid everything we had into this thing, we'd get it done by the time, which we did, which was super cool. And then I was organising a conference in Cairns, and my family was coming up, but we thought, oh, this sucks, we haven't got any money, so we just spent it all. So we thought, oh, well, we'll just go and hang out at the what's that? It's like a lagoon, the lagoon in the thing of Cairns. We'll just hang out there. The kids will enjoy that. It'll be nice to be up there in winter. And then, like a couple of weeks before we went, my folks just came up and said, "Oh, you're going to Cairns, so we want you to do this, 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 and this, and here's the money for it."
Wow.
And,
nice.
and in the end, we probably did more stuff than if I was paying for it all, because I'm a voluntary giver. So I give everything away. I don't like to spend it on myself. So it turned out amazingly. And my hand healed, so everything worked out beautifully.
Awesome. Very good, very good. All right, Deanna, we're going to come to you now. I think you've got a great story you're going to share with us.
Yeah, about 6 years ago, we came across an investment property, which we have now, and we absolutely loved it. And we went to the bank manager and we asked, how much can we borrow? And he point blank said to us, you need to get rid of these 2 loans if we're going to lend you the money. And I don't know about you, but we don't have spare money sitting under the bed or on the side table. It's all in the bank. The bank knows what we own. The bank knows what we owe, what we earn. And I said, right, to get rid of one of those, it was 2 commercial loans that we had. One commercial loan was attached to a commercial vacant block. And we thought, well, let's get rid of that block and sell it. And we had an agent come in. The agent said, you're not even going to get your money back. So we thought, right, well, God, if you really want us to have this property as an investment property, you'll make a way. And along came a buyer through our accountant who not only paid us more than the agent had suggested, but enough to pay out that second loan.
Wow.
So just amazing how God came through for us during that particular time and made that happen. We've been tithing into the building fund for a long time, so it's not specifically to meet our annual pledge
or commitment, yep.
But out of that investment property, we've been able to pledge more. So and give. So God's faithfulness through that.
Yeah. Great story.
Yeah,
Great
it was
story.
just amazing.
Beautiful. All right. Well, guys, thank you very much for joining us today. It's been wonderful to have a chat. And thank you very much for your time and your wisdom. It's always good to do that. And church, thanks for joining us again. And we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time. God bless.